Hey y'all, this is Robert, and thank you for tuning in to Station Square. And today we're just going to be chatting with somebody another voice VO artist based in the UK. And because I've really done a lot of interviews with UK based like voiceover talent, but I just definitely wanted to change up the pace for today as we have Victoria Riley in the corner, and we're just going to be chatting about VO and anything that's been going on for I guess pretty much for this year, really, and the latest updates of what's been happening. So, regardless, we're just gonna have a nice little conversation and we'll see what happens. Spontaneous. Like this
Okay,
is clearly, obviously, this has no script, but thank you so much for joining me today on
my pleasure.
this. And it's evening on your end,
That's right.
so
It's eight
it's
o'clock at night. Yeah, so I've
yep,
I've just had my dinner, taken the dog for a walk.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
it's like 12 o'clock, so we're still like my day's literally kind of still getting started. So this is pretty interesting because like different time zones, you know?
yeah, we're
It's fine.
winding down here.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna pick up the pace from my end, so wish me luck. But anyways, how's this year been for you? Like anything that you want to discuss or just throw out there before we get to the main Q&A section?
Not really, no. This has probably been my busiest year in voiceover so far. Um, so I've been I've been a voice actor for 22 years. Um, but I've only had my own studio for about 5 years. And obviously, it becomes a very different business once you have your own studio. Um, and so, yeah, this is the busiest I've been this year so far.
Right on. What's some of the projects that you can share or talk about that is currently out and it's not under, an NDA? Like, I just
Yeah,
want to discuss projects that are like out there right now.
yeah. I mean, I just do a lot of you kind of uh uh meat and two veg kind of voiceover jobs, brand videos, corporate narration, radio adverts. So no, I can't sit here and say, I've got this massive project that's on the go. I'm just very much just a working, jobbing voice actor.
Oh yeah. Um, I mean, at least it's nice that you're staying busy and productive, especially during these times.
Yeah. Oh, I did an animated film a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah, that was very exciting. So I don't know what I can't tell you what it's called. I can't tell you when it's going to be out or anything like that.
Okay.
It's quite a small independent studio, but yeah, that's exciting.
Okay. Um, well, congratulations, by the way. I mean, that's pretty
Thank
big.
you. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Um, but regardless, I guess we could just get right into this. My first question that I usually ask is like, has VO kind of been something that's been in the back of your mind, like when you were younger, or did you just kind of like stumble into it over time? I don't know if this is the right way of
No,
phrasing it,
yeah,
but
I
yeah.
understand. I mean, people come to it from all kinds of different professions, don't they? I trained as an actor, and at drama school, when I went to drama school, which is a while ago, voiceover was introduced to us as something that you could do to kind of supplement your acting income. But it was never something that was taught. It was just assumed that we could do it because we were actors, but we didn't have any microphone training. We didn't have any specific voiceover training, nothing at all. It was just, I mean, nothing at all. It was just kind of mentioned. It's something you can do to supplement your income. Um, and uh, and when I left drama school, I got an agent quite quickly, a voiceover agent, which was fantastic. Um, and I've still got the same voiceover agent actually. I've been with him for 22 years, and I always assumed that at some point there would be this kind of snowball effect, and that I would become a full-time voice actor over time, because the acting kind of fell away and the voiceover was taking over. Um, but what I hadn't realized, stupidly, is that there's this whole kind of separate business side of it where everybody has their own studios and everybody is running their own businesses. They're not reliant on agents. And as soon as I realized that, which was about 5 years ago, I set up my own studio and very much came at it from a different frame of mind. Like, this is what I want to do for my full-time job. It's down to me. My agent can get me some work, but I need to get a lot of my own work. Yeah, so that's what I do. I run it as a business. It's my own business, and I work at it full time. But yeah, I started out as an actor.
Nice. And starting out as an actor, how are you able to? I mean, I usually ask this for people that have done like acting work prior to VO. Um, so what were some of the biggest like? Did you find that you when you transitioned into VO, was it kind of like an easy like you just kind of was it like a smooth, easy transition, or was there like something that you still had to learn along the way, like
Oh, I mean,
as you were
so,
making the yeah. Oh,
yeah, I
sorry,
mean,
continue.
yeah, no, well, as when I was doing voiceover through my agent, um, I would just go into the studios and do the recording and didn't really know what I was doing, kind of winging it. Um, and when I set up my own studio, I started out winging it. Obviously, I had a steep learning curve because having to learn, um, how to process the audio. I mean, I knew nothing about any of that. Um, so I had a lot of training to do on that side of things. But what I hadn't uh, realized was the amount of training that I actually needed to do the job, to do the voiceover itself, to do the speaking bit. I thought that I only had to learn the technical side of it, but I really had a lot to learn with voiceover as well. All the different genres, the different styles. Um, I mean, I had an enormous amount to learn. It's a completely different profession. I realize now. Um, you don't just go into the studio and go for it.
Yeah, and recording from the UK, um, does it come with its own set of challenges and advantages, being based, um, and because I know there's a lot of voiceover clients around the world and doing remote work, do you also find it to be a challenging process or just something that you started learning the ropes for and you learned to start adapting to over time, so to speak?
Um, so in terms of working from the UK, I think I still have quite a lot to learn. There are um, stumbling blocks like tax issues, things like that. So you can't necessarily easily work through agents in the US, for instance. Um, so although your business needs to be global, there are all sorts of things that you have to learn about how you can actually work with people in all these different countries. Um, so yeah, that's still a challenge I'm getting my head around.
Oh yeah, because I've also talked to a lot of voiceover folks that also because I know you mentioned before we actually got on was you've watched the interview that I did with Ian Russell, want to give him a shout
Mm,
out.
yeah.
And he was saying like from his perspective, he said something like I believe like working from the UK, it's like, yeah, like with remote work in general, it does have its like, I mean, everyone is different, but I know if you're work, like if you're work, basically what I'm trying to say is that like say if you're in Australia, UK, Japan even, um, it's navigating the business can be pretty daunting, but it can also be, once you start getting a hang of it, it can be, like I know for VO, like sometimes you have to do like the less glamorous tasks. Like, you got your invoices and you got
Yeah.
bills and yeah, and you know where I'm going with this. Good
Yeah.
old taxes. So it's like, this is why when you really get down to it, like just being in there and just recording for clients, like you get the good. Uh, like for me personally, I wanted to deliver when I do voiceover, I wanted to give the best that I could possibly give. And it's like when you take away the self-consciousness of like, oh, what if they don't like it? Or oh, what if it was a bad take? Like honestly, just getting in there and doing the work and not really worrying, overthinking it it just can really go a long way. It really
Oh,
does.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It helps for mindset. Yeah.
Overthinking is the enemy of creativity. Absolutely.
Bingo.
Um, I mean, the thing with overthinking things as well is that if you're having a tough time in voiceover, because it's all peaks and troughs, ebbs and flows. I mean, I still have work droughts, um, and you can sort of spiral into a mindset where you feel like you're getting it all wrong, it's all terrible, oh no, I'm never going to work again. And then when auditions come in, you overthink it because it becomes too important. I absolutely have to get this job will prove that everything's okay, that I'm good at voiceover. And the overthinking is just the worst thing. Yeah, it's definitely something that you have to overcome. You have to trust yourself.
Yeah. So during long recording sessions, what usually helps you stay, you know, that helps you in the zone, so to speak? Like if you have these long recording sessions of, I don't know, say like a narration or for a project, what usually keeps you energized and helps you like, um, basically just stay, focused and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I like to do yoga before a recording session, because that is calming to the mind and it's also good for relaxing the voice. So I do yoga before a recording session. I also drink a lot of chamomile tea during a recording session because that is calming for the mind. Um, and also lubricating as well. And apparently, it's good for calming tummy rumbles. Um, but yes, it's all about getting in the zone and also having some time before the recording session just to kind of center and get your head together. Um, I used to cycle everywhere in London, and I would go to these recording sessions in the centre of town, in big studios. And you've been cycling through London traffic, and you're pedaling, and you can turn up at the studio. You're out of breath, you're fraught, you're all over the place. So so I've learned you always have to have at least 15 minutes, if not half an hour, before a session, just to sit down, be calm, get centered, get your breath back, get in the zone.
Mhm. So you said that you've been doing this for over 20 years. How much would you say that this entire voiceover thing, how much would you say that it really like because I know with new technology and everything, like the industry has been evolving like I mean from your perspective since you first got started. So what have been some of the
Yeah.
biggest changes that you've noticed personally?
I think uh the kind of the move away from the agency model. I mean, obviously there are still fantastic agents out there. Love you, agents. And obviously they can get you access to some fantastic jobs. But also there has been much more of a growth of voiceovers working for themselves and generating their own work. I mean, now I think I've heard, I've heard that the statistic is that an agent will only get you between 3 and 5% of your work, and the rest of it you have to get for yourself. And in the UK, about 20 years ago, there was only a very small group of people. I wasn't one of them. A very small group of people who were running their businesses themselves, and they were taking, the lion's share of the work. They were full-time voiceovers, and the rest of us, we would just get a handful of jobs a year, something like that. And we were generally actors. But now, obviously, that everybody's got their own home studios, we can run it very much ourselves. So that's been a big change.
Yeah, because like I mentioned before, remote recording is definitely like I will say that voiceover has kind of gotten really busy, like over the course of three. I mean, now it's gonna be 4 years. Yikes. Since we've been kind of, I mean, like for me, like I got my closet behind me. So it's kind of here it is. So yeah, pretty much, we've kind of have been adjusting to our we got to make it like, we got to improvise. Like if we're not going to studios or if we're not doing it in person, like we got to
Yeah.
improvise and just make the best of it. I know that a closet might not be I mean, I know that so many do recording the closets, and I mean, I've seen some with studio bricks and all of these fancy setups and everything. Um, as long as you can do it and as long as it's broadcast quality and
Yeah.
that you're trusting and reliable as an actor, knows business and et cetera, like for more, I highly recommend people watch the interview that I did with Mark Cashman where he goes into like the five no four five yeah the five legs of growing a voiceover business. So I can't really speak for everything that he said, but if you watch it and listen to what he has to say, like his perspective really does change a lot with how, you handle yourself, like how are you conducting, how's your behavior on social media, which plays
Oh
a
yeah.
big factor into it. So,
Yeah.
I've done so many episodes where we discuss like, having a social media presence and um yeah, and how to with marketing and clients and all of this other stuff. So I know that you've also done, episodes where you've been on other podcasts, just cats
Yeah.
discussing like, with marketing and keep up with clients. So if you want to do like a quick little recap here of
Yeah.
how to conduct yourself on like social media, like how to, you know, grow a business, because I know that um some of my audience, they're still like, okay, so I like making these videos for YouTube, but for me personally, I'll admit that marketing is still something that I am in the process of learning. Like it's still something that like you literally learn something every day in the business. So
Yeah.
for with your 2 cents from your perspective, any advice on marketing, with social media and just like pretty much
Yeah.
how you conduct yourself
Okay.
professionally as a business.
Yeah. I mean, I spend a huge amount of my time marketing, um, and I envisage that will be the case forever. Um, Gradually, the balance tips, hopefully, so that you're doing more voicing than you are marketing, but still a huge portion of my time will be marketing. Um, and I treat it as a full-time job. I get up early in the morning and that is my job for the day. And possibly some work will come in, possibly some auditions will come in. Um, but that's my focus for the day. I do marketing. I'm very busy on LinkedIn. The thing with social media, I think, is that you have to find what social media you have an affinity with. Because I personally, I think people are amazing if they are on all the social media platforms. I can't do that. I don't understand Instagram. I don't get it. I don't enjoy it. I just all these silly little videos, it drives me insane. But LinkedIn, I understand LinkedIn. I like the fact that that people chat, that you get conversations going with people. So you learn, you build up. It's more like relationship marketing on LinkedIn to me. Um, but yes, how you conduct yourself. I mean, you always have to remember that you are a business. And it's always unwise to be voicing any unpleasant opinions. You know, remember that yes, you're a human, but you are a business and you are the face of that business. So you have to conduct yourself in a professional manner. Um, and with the marketing, I would just say, just do it, because any marketing that you do is always going to be better than no marketing. I would also say that setting goals has been very helpful to me, just in terms of the numbers of emails I want to send, either in a day or in a week or in a month, just to have a goal, a number to aim for. Because otherwise, if you're just feeling like, oh, you know, I should send some emails today, you know, oh, that didn't happen. Oh, maybe I'll do it tomorrow, you know, actually have a goal. And then also, what that does is when you've hit that goal, you can feel like you've achieved something, which is wonderful. But yeah, marketing, just do it. You just have to do it. It's imperative, because nobody is going to come knocking on your door. Well, they might find you via your website, but they're few and far between.
Totally. That is all of this is really solid, you know, like, um, because you also have your website, demos, and, you know, they're kind of like the business cards, as we kind of like to say it, your calling
Yeah,
cards, or
like your shop window.
either. Oh, totally. Yep. So I guess I probably will also ask you, like, how much would you say that a good or a bad demo can make or break your career?
Oh, make or break your career. Oh, golly. Um, the thing is with demos, I think, is that you have to make sure that you're ready to record it. And so having somebody who somebody very trustworthy in the business who can guide you in that way is just invaluable. Um, I mean, I know sometimes people record their own demos. They feel like, oh, it's okay, you know, it's fine. But if you are at all presenting yourself in an unprofessional manner in that way, people will remember it. There's just no point to it. The thing is with demos, yes, they are expensive. I mean, they're colossally expensive in America, that you pay so much for your demos. We don't pay that kind of money over here. Um, but but there's just no point really sending a bad demo, because as they say, you only get one chance to make a first impression. And people do remember.
Oh yeah, yeah. Apparently the bad demos are even they are remembered, and apparently they're even kept by some agencies.
Ooh.
Oh, oof.
Oh, that
I
is
mean,
scary.
don't take my word for it. Okay, if somebody in the comments, I don't know, somebody will probably correct me on this, but apparently it does happen.
Yeah,
Boy,
yeah.
yeah,
Yikes. I mean,
yeah.
it's difficult because, you know, when people are starting out, obviously you don't have the answers to everything. You don't have the knowledge. And it is a very steep learning curve. And it it's so easy to fall into that trap and feel like, well, I've got a nice voice and I could make these recordings and I'll just send them off and, I'll kind of learn as I go. Um, it's a very easy trap to fall into, but really you need to be fully prepared. You need to know that you're ready to make a demo. You need to get somebody professional to make that demo with you. Because just presenting yourself in anything less than an absolutely professional way is unwise, let's say.
Yeah. So let me see. What is something that you like to do? Because I know you work full time as a voiceover artist, but what's something that you've been getting into as of late that you consider to be like, I don't know, a hobby or just something
Okay.
that you do on the side? Yeah.
Um, uh, I've been doing foraging recently. Um, Foraging, so going out and picking berries and making food making food from things that you can find in hedges. So today I because I have to take the dog out every day. I've got a lovely dog. So while I was out with my dog today, I picked some apples. I'm going to make apple vinegar from them, and I also picked some haws from a hawthorn bush, and I'm going to make hawthorn ketchup. That's my hobby.
Sweet. Yeah, apples sound delicious.
Yeah.
I'm also a food, like I love food, so I'm just kind of like, I'm just kind of curious, like, what is your favorite, like, that you enjoy, you know, to eat?
Well, I'm vegetarian. Well, I'm not vegetarian technically. I'm a pescatarian. But I haven't eaten meat for 36 years. But I do eat fish. But yeah, I love vegetarian food because, it never had a face.
Um, and also, um, I think something that I also ask from time to time is if you weren't doing VO, what would you see yourself doing right now?
Oh, how do you mean? What would I be doing right now? How do you mean?
Oh, it means if you're not doing like voiceover, what would you be doing? Like, what's another like career or something that you were interested
Oh,
in doing per se?
oh, okay. So I always wanted to be an actor. Um, that was oh difficult. And also, I actually don't like being away from home. Being a voiceover really suits me. Just sitting in my own little padded room
Oh,
with the
totally.
kettle. Oh, it's just heaven,
Yeah.
perfect. But I also I used to compete as a dancer. A long time ago, I used to do Latin American dance. So yeah, I've always thought maybe I could have been a dancer.
Interest. Excuse me. Because it's sorry. I know that the triple threats are usually like acting, dancing, and also singing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, dancing. That's really
I
nice.
used to have singing lessons as well. That's actually quite
There you
useful
go.
with voiceover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the thing with singing with me is that I can make a lovely noise and I can make a very loud noise, not necessarily on the right note.
Okay. That's really nice. Uh, yeah, but anything like I know I've asked you about projects. My favorite. Let me see. Anything else about yourself that you wanted to share? Like any fun facts?
Fun facts. I love animals. Animals are my absolute favorite thing. When I was a struggling actor, I worked as a professional dog walker and pet sitter to supplement my income. So a lot of my best friends have been dogs over the years. Um, so yeah, I'm very into wildlife. A job that I did recently actually was for a wildlife conservation charity, and that was very very special. Look, it's lovely when you get a job that you really believe in, that you wholeheartedly. I got the script and it made me cry. So things like that is yeah, special.
Yeah. And what are some of the biggest, I think I've asked like challenges and stuff about working from the UK, but how about working as a full-time VO actor?
Challenges. Well, we touched on mindset. I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
one of my biggest challenges. Um, and I think it is for most people, really. If I had any advice for voiceovers, I would say to make sure that your sense of self-worth is not entirely tied in to voiceover, uh, because the minute you start to feel like you're no good, or yeah, and I don't, I mean, so you can feel like you're no good in voiceover, but once that spills out into I'm no good overall, like I'm a failure, this is terrible, and you start to spiral down. Yeah, I've been there, and it's difficult. So
Man,
it's
yeah.
difficult to claw your way out once you've gone down that road. So yes, you have to have a sense of self-worth that is not entirely tied in with voiceover, because there will be lean times, um, and you have to know that that's okay. And actually, something I've learnt is to appreciate the lean times, because 1 week you might not have any work, um but the week after you might have so much work you haven't got enough time to do it, and you're running around panicking. So just to enjoy the ebbs and flows of it, it's all fine.
Also imposter syndrome. Just throwing that out
Imposter
there.
syndrome, yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm terrible, I don't belong here, everybody's going to find out.
Yeah. Um, so what have been some of the projects that you've worked on that really made a significant impact on your life? Like, what are some of the projects that you look back on and realize, and then you go back and remember, this is why I love doing this every day.
Yeah. So when I first set up my own studio, um, I very quickly, just within a couple of months, got a job as the voice of a national radio station here in the UK. And I was not ready for it. My studio, like you pointed to your closet behind you, my studio at the time was under the stairs. So I lived in a one-bedroom flat on the ground floor, and my studio was underneath the stairs that led to the upstairs flat. And it wasn't soundproofed. It was sound treated, sort of. Uh, but basically, the lady who lived in the flat upstairs from mine, she would just run up and down those stairs at any time of the day. She was a bit of a troubled lady as well. She would be shouting and screaming. There was all sorts of hullabaloo going on in that flat upstairs, and I was trying to record in this tiny little cupboard that I couldn't stand up in, with the stairs going above my head. And yeah, and I got this job as the voice of a national radio station. And I mean, it was amazing, because they would write the scripts with my voice in mind, with my personality in mind. They were it was a very different take on the voice of a national radio station. It wasn't straight laced. It was very kind of saucy and good fun, a lot of comedy involved. And they would write all these scripts for me, uh and I would have these recording sessions in this tiny little cupboard, not knowing what I was doing, really, with this woman potentially running upstairs at any given moment. And and if I could hear her making noise, sometimes I would put myself on mute. I would say, I'm just going to get myself a glass of water, something like that, and I put myself on mute until the hullabaloo had finished. Um, but that job is basically what just set me off on the whole journey, because to have got that job just within a couple of months of setting up my own studio, and you know what? They found me from my website. Um, And my website was rubbish at the time, rubbish. But they found me, and yeah, and that was the job that made all the difference. It was heaven. But then about 2.5 years later, the radio station went bust, and something that I hadn't done was build up a client base of lots of other clients. So there's a tip for you: don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Totally. So, feel free to share like your socials, any closing thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So socials. So my website, if anybody wants to visit it, is voiceovervic.co.uk. You can find me on LinkedIn, Victoria Riley. My other socials are not worth bothering with. Anything else to share? I don't think I do. Just if you're out there and you're struggling in voiceover, just keep at it, because when it's good, it is the best job in the world.
That's pretty much what I'm gonna end this off with. Yeah, and have fun.
Yeah,
That's my
and have fun.
advice. Yep.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Victoria. This was a lot of fun doing this with you, and I wish you all the best, and I wish everybody listening to this all the best. And until next time, this is Robert Jackson from Station Square, signing out for today. Take care.
Thanks.